У кого-то будут вопросы, поднимайте руку, задаете. Я вот такой вот микрофончик притаскиваю к вам, чтобы ребята из онлайна также имели возможность понимать, о чем идет речь, и все в этом роде. Вопросы можно задавать как на русском, так и на английском языке, но сама лекция будет проходить именно на английском. Вот, давайте встретим нашего спикера, поаплодируем.
So, thank you everyone for coming. Спасибо, что все пришли. And let's switch to English because it was announced as the English lecture. So, if you sit a little bit closer, it will be easier to make some coding because I shouldn't scale too much. So, my name is Alexandr. I'm data art specialist, senior web developer at data art company. And if you switch to next, I have a switcher. So Data Art Company is a big outsource company. The sales office is represented in North America, in UK, in Switzerland, that is sales offices. But overall, there is about 5,000 or 5,500 people. Most of them are developers. And Data Art Company, as an outsourced IT company, it covers almost all features of IT development. It's highly customizable products. It could be just web, backend, frontend, IE, ML. Basically, 5,000 people can cover almost all IT needs of clients. And in Kazakhstan, there are about 150 people. We have offices in Almaty, in Astana, also in Karaganda that are represented here, and some people works from other cities of the Kazakhstan. So total about 150. Most of them are developers. So what we're going to talk about, it will be introduction to the Next.js, some like basic features, works, and CMS, and some demos on both of these parts. Well, let's start from evolution of the web. So as a web developer, okay, who is has some experience in web development here? Oh, all of them, that's great. Maybe you have seen the previous lecture about Next.js. It was, I don't know, 2 or 3 days ago about cache in Next.js. Also here, it's happened. No? Okay, if you check the previous version of Telecom Valley, there was a lecture about Next.js cache. Also very nice to figure out what is it, because Next.js is also about cache. But okay, let's back to our. As a web developer, usually what are our main tools which are working with? It's HTML, CSS, and JS. And basically nothing has changed since that. We still work with these 3 pillars of web development. It could be client-side, it could be server-side rendering, but still it doesn't change. You can switch to some fancy frameworks like React, Angular, or maybe Vue, or go to, I don't know, just .NET. They also have web models. And still, user sees HTML, CSS, and some JS. I think PHP, well, PHP now maybe not very in high demand at data, but still it runs like a huge amount of server-side page rendering, and I think legacy system for web still runs mostly on PHP. And that was the start of HTML that renders on the server and sends back to the user. Then the second part, then we see WordPress. That's like, I don't know, I think it's a main tool that makes web great and available for many users who are like zero or almost zero to programming experience, but they could open WordPress, make some settings, put their nice header and footer, put their data, and publish to the website. And then here you go, full-featured CMS with the backend, with the front end, and it works. Then 10 years after, we get our mostly wanted single-page application developer tools, Angular, React, and Vue. Who is Angular experienced here? Any people? React? Oh, like Vue is like, I think, the most rare one. So what this framework gives us, it's a single page application. So you get almost desktop-like user experience. It's very nice rendering on the client side. But there is some drawbacks of this process, that search engine, they doesn't search single page application very nice, and they just could see nothing. And it was happening for like quite a big amount of time. And that's why there was happening that Next.js appeared, and it combined good features of single page application and SEO optimization. So we get like two nice things in a one framework, that you could render server side, use React, and use client side rendering. And also in one, Next.js, it's not a like 100% framework, it's a framework above other framework, or meta framework, you may say. It uses React server components, wrappeds, and you get new framework. It happened that it allows us to create more SEO-friendly pages with predefined HTML pages, which stores in a cache, and user quickly gets their responses. So two things that you should be aware about client-side and server-side rendering. So client-side lifecycle is a little bit different. User, I hear this echo. Okay, user hits some sites, he gets chunks of data. If it's client side, he gets JS. JS renders HTML on the client side and get the page. If it's server side, oh, now it's nice. I don't hear myself. Thank you. Server side rendering a little bit different. Well, user hits the page, then he gets pre-rendered HTML on his device, then JS, and he already sees HTML, then JS loads, and page starts fully functioned. So Next.js is not the single framework for the server-side rendering. We just like return back to the server side, but it suggested us very nice features out of the box without installing some new dependencies. It's CSS support, client-side rendering, and HTML streaming. So let's make some coding. Let's see how we can make simple pages in Next.js and make some live coding. Well, live coding is always challenging. Live coding, when you're on public, it's like double challenge. Because if something goes wrong, there's no nice office. A lot of time, you just have to figure out what doesn't work. Okay, let me share my screen. So, okay, if everything fine, I will fix this scale for you, or should I enlarge it? I think also. Oh, okay. Oh, that's nice. Size is okay for everyone? Okay, great. If you have any, is it okay to ask questions now? Okay. If you have any questions, you may raise your hand. Let's talk before start coding, or we can proceed. Okay, so let's move to. I didn't start it from the scratch, just to not waste time on installing some, just want to check that you see the same thing that as me. To installing all dev dependencies, downloading packages, just let's check what the main libraries we are using in Next.js. So it's basically when I started the project, the latest version was 15.22, but they quite maintaining new versions quite fast. And I believe if you'll check it online, it will be 2.6 or maybe 2.5. Luckily, React released version 19. It's not candidate release anymore, because before, if you started next 15 version, you would see React candidate release number something, and it was not very good to use it in production. But now everything has final release, and you can freely use 15 React with latest React features from this version. By default, Next suggested you to use Tailwind CSS. I don't know, aware about Tailwind CSS? Anybody? It's just a nice approach to minify your CSS classes and to use it straight away as an inline style. I'll show you in a minute. That basically, that is, everything else is just pretty and some TypeScript version. By the way, I strongly recommend you to use TypeScript, because if you go to web development interview, the basic features which you will be asked, it will be JS, I don't know, some of the frameworks, React, Vue, Angular, whatever you choose. And of course, it will be TypeScript. So please don't forget that it's very important if you plan to apply for some web interview. Okay, 1 second. Oh. Oh, I just had this button that blocks me. Let's hit dev and just start our new server. So by default, it's pretty much quite the same for every project that will start on Next.js. You get this page with some like mock data, and it uploads like instantly, refreshes all data. So you get this demo, and what do we have here? If you are not very familiar with this Tailwind CSS, it's instead of how you usually using CSS, you create CSS file, then maybe you use less or SAS approach, make some nested CSS files like wrapper, and the more wrapper. Now you don't have to create any special CSS files for your page. You just put all your classes in line. And for example, grid, you use like Tailwind LS or Tailwind snippets. You put grid, and it means grid, display grid. For example, item center, it's just item center, align center. So you don't need any extra files. You just put some Tailwind classes, and it started to work. When you start to work with Next.js, it uses app routing, and the file name is very important. There are a set of reserved file names. We have a page and a layout. So everything starts from layout. So we get this footer, and layout, it renders all page context. For example, we want to create new section in our site. And let me show how to do it. That will be our main page. For example, we want to create some blog. Let's say it will be about, very common blog for the site. And here, to make it available, you just need to create new file page. Well, it's so unusual to just live coding without ChatGPT. Usually, you just put, give me some samples in ChatGPT, and you get the full featured code. Okay, export, default function about page. There is no any special rules how you should name this function. It could be about page, about something section, it doesn't matter. The most important part is you have a folder, name folder is about, and the file that is presents in this folder, it should be a page. So let's check. And we should get new section. Okay, let me. So we get this about blog and footer section. Let's go and add some classes just to make it a little bit not so ugly. We can add, for example, margin, some padding, and background color. Well, usually your favorite IDE handle Tailwind classes in the same manner. It doesn't matter will you use Visual Studio, WebStorm, and here you go. If we run to expand code, okay, let me increase this for you. Let's increase a bit more. First part, Tailwind that was used, it generates this code for us, P4, padding, ember, margin. Here you are. In network, let's hit about button. You may see that we requested about page and get this nice, well, in preview, it's a nice response. In response, we get this set of data. And if you experience with the React, so for React, if you want to implement new page, you would use React routing, create component, it's made setup for this routing, and you get new page. Let's go to some new, let's fetch some data and check it here. One second. So our aim here will be to display some data as it was a network request. That would be person. And before, let's check that our new page works and there's no any mistakes. Right. So we get new blog person. Person blog. So I prepared some mock data for you. That's not from the scratch. I just put it this file before. And 1 second, again this. Let's import some data from our data folder. Data.json. And so we need to create some elements. So don't forget that elements that would be item. And I believe what we have in this data, we have ID, name, language. Let's put it name. And display elements here. So can anybody say what is missed in our elements block code? I think if you are aware about some React features, you would say that key is missing for the correct page rendering. Let's put ID, and I believe we're good to go. When you make it live coding, you're always not sure if you're good to go or not. Yeah. So we get some nice list of our person. Next.js, React, I don't know, Vue, Angular, you always make fetch data display, whether you make a table for displaying or whether you make a form to input data. That's the 90% of web development. So you made a fetch, and also what we'll do next, we need to like drill down from every person on a name to some details, like I don't know, the pattern of development in almost 90% of the projects. You have ID, you drill down by ID. How could be done in Next.js? Quite a nice way. So we get this slug, that will be a parameter in your query. Let's create new, new page. Let me copy paste it here, but it will be a little bit different. Oh, I will remove it. Oh. Yeah, so let's say data is here. We don't want to put these elements, but now we got params that will be our ID, and let's check what is in our params. I think the most straightforward approach for debugging is just to put console log. Like, let's say that will be our details placeholder. Okay, it's for now it's TypeScript warning, and this structure of the folders, when we use person, and in person we get these square brackets, let us to make our page available via this. Like, doesn't matter what we type now. Approach. Let's go to console. So you may, it's a promise that will be const input data await. Let's check what we get in input data. So if you use await in a function body, function should be async. Here, because it was here, we get this warning, its promise, and it was pending. Oh, hold a second. I believe now we should, yeah, we should get some values. So what do we get here? From this URL, which we type here, we get parameters, and it will be ID with this value. So how do we get? We created a subfolder in our person that will be our ID. When we put folder name in a square brackets, that means it will be passed as the parameters here, and it will be available on our on the server side. So what part has REST for us? It just defines a person with the right ID. So let's first we assume that we get ID from the server. Yes, and let's const person details will be okay. Again, data find so yeah, input data ID. So let's check. We have a data file. We have this ID, and we pass parameters. Parameters has input value, and I believe we could find person details. Let's say we want to display from here name and a bio. Name. Oh, let's go to bio just. If we go back to our person page, 1 second, 1 second. No rush, no rush. First of all, it's not a clickable. Let's convert this list to a clickable linked lists. Boom, boom, boom. Here. We have a div. What we could do, we may add this as a link. Well, some IDE are very smart. They just put some code for you, but I think it's not correct. It should be href. Well, not always. Next.js suggested nice input, nice built-in components. These are image, link. So we should put our path to the blog or to the page. We put href goes to the person here, our folder person / item ID. Item ID will be our link and just a name. Let's see how it's re-rendered. So we get this nice handler, and let's go to the elements. So we get this href with this person. Let's go here, and now it works like that. So second part of the Next.js, maybe It was mentioned before, it's a cache. Any questions by this stage? Clear, unclear? Usually, if there is no question, that's unclear at all, or maybe everything's clear. No? Or maybe online, or online we check later. Okay, let's proceed. So let's put some TypeScript. And it will be promise here. Oh, one second. Okay. Sure.
Is there only the reason we use Next.js because of the links?
Because of the
links.
Oh no, it's just like a popular approach how to navigate between pages and some data. Also, Next.js is very useful for the search engine optimization, for the better like user experience. If you consider displaying data without any like fancy integration with the user, that would be the way to go to choose Next.js. For example, if you have a public site, and of course, Google and Yandex, they now search static pages, even if with SPA very nicely. But apart from this search engine, there could be, I don't know, Instagram, Facebook, or something else. And if you want to be on safe side in terms of server-side HTML generation, Next.js will be a nice choice. Okay. So that was nice part of Next.js, and I would like to continue. We have the second part, headless CMS. Let's talk a little bit about it, why it's nice to have. Okay, I stop share, and you will maybe continue with the presentation. Oh, that's nice. Okay, we stopped here, the Next.js. I have this clicker. Ooh. And okay, so to display static data, you may use React, Angular, Next.js. You get some nice view. Clients are happy. They go to, I don't know, they go to your website and see some data. It nicely optimized for the SEO engines. But the second part is on the back end. So you have to edit, update, delete data, publish data, and sometimes there could be quite challengeable, and you should put a lot of efforts to make some admin panel. It could be customized panel. It could be, I don't know, for example, WordPress, but it's, I don't know, or it could be something else. But to make this process of handling data more easier without any development and make your customer happy, you just give them a tool and they make a full feature editing. You may choose headless CMS approach. Why it's headless? So headless is responsible only for the backend part. There is no view part. It's only for the storing. It could be locally, it could be cloud-based, and you just get data from the REST or the GraphQL. Strapi CMS is not the single choice for you, but it's very popular. It has a lot of nice features, and it's free, like for some limits. But for sure, at the start, free version of the Strapi CMS will be more than enough. It has all features for the storing, editing, publishing. Maybe at some point of time, we will reach some limits of the free version and move to some paid account. But believe me, there is a lot of nice features which you can choose. And it has a lot of GitHub stars. Not so many projects has more than 65,000. So it's open source, by the way. Highly developed. It has multi-language support and a lot of different access settings. So when your business grows, maybe at the first point, you just hard-coded some static data and everybody happy. But after some period of time, you need, okay, I have a person who update data. I have a person who publish data. And you start to make your admin panel, which you, I don't know, created some months ago, more complicated. Here you get all these features out of the box. And let's go to the Strapi and then and how we can use it. So let's go back to our IDE. So I will share again. So there is not so many dependencies. The main Strapi, you can move further to the cloud Strapi, just to not care about hosting. Well, it's you should spend some money for that. But locally, everything is free. You can connect any, but not any, but most all popular databases, PostgreSQL, I believe Oracle, MySQL. Here, it's just SQLite stores locally. Let's start it and see how it works. You just run npm install, get Strapi ready, or just accept what he suggested by default, and you will be free to go. So you get some notification that is community edition, SQLite, and the database name. If you use some SQL, I think it will put the name. Let's hit the server, how it look like. Let me adjust size. Okay. I think it's fine. So by default, you get content builder and the content manager. Now we have this, there is nothing for us. This is first collection, some mock data. The main idea of the Strapi CMS in our case, that you have to create, first, you describe data which you are going to store, and then you fill the data. So, and after that, for example, we have a user as a developer that will describe data which we are going to store, and the content manager who will fill them. Let's go back to our Next.js, and let's say that we had before some data which was hard coded, and always it's not very nice to hard code some set of data. It will be every time try to keep them editable in some environments, in or whatever. And let's move this to our Strapi CMS. So there are simple steps for that. We have a collection type. Let's create collection type. First, we have to describe what will be that. It will be our person. Okay, continue. Text. This will be title for our data. So name. Name will be short. Add another field. Oops, I misclicked. 1 second. Where was I? Again, text. Let's put like a long text, hit finish. So we describe metadata. It could be number, Boolean, date, image. We put the simple one. Hit the save. Let's wait for some time. Don't be confused. Strapi starts to reload, and hopefully it will work. So here in content type builder, we have a new collection to this person. We explained how we should store data, and next step will be role of content manager. Now we use super admin, and he can make everything here, creates, delete, updates, anything what he wants. But we say that user content manager, he would like to make editing, put some data, just like create new entry, name and bio. And let's move our static data to more dynamic environment. Yeah, let me remove it. Just save. So that means we saved the database, but it's not publicly available. Now we published. Let's create another entry just to show that there could be more than one. So we have some data. It could be 50 records, 1 record, 10 records, but now it's editable, deletable, updatable. And we have, if we talk about like standard web development, usually you make a front, then you wait, okay, we have some admin data, where should we store it? Wait for the backend endpoint. You should have some link to fetch the data. Let's go to the settings and let's move to roles, public. You can set up some security options like put API key to retrieve data. Now let's skip this step. We get our new collection person, and via API calls, we can allow user find, delete, edit, update our collection. So API people, let's save it. So we made these changes in our public role. Let's go to our, that wouldn't work for sure. You're joking. Let's open our Strapi server. And just edit our link with API. See, that's, yeah, okay, let's make it a little bit bigger. So in like 10 minutes, what you get? You get some nice API endpoint for the data. It will be available via your Strapi host. It could be like publicly available or your local. Doesn't matter, local host, because I run it locally. It could be deployed for sure. You can add API key, and via the API people, we get this response. You may see here we have a find and find one. So if we switch to this, is it visible for you? Okay. So if you put ID in your query, we will get one person. So that means, what does it mean? Let's go here, hit a slash, and let's check. This point may be a little bit confusing. There was some switch from ID to document ID, and when you see here in the Strapi that it says ID from some point of time, I'm not sure from what version, it started to be document ID. So let's hit document ID, and you get the same nice data. So if by people, you get the whole bunch of data. It's an array of objects with nice metadata of pagination. If you want further, you can make some like get data page by page. That's created it, published it. It's more system that Strapi has edited. For now, for us, it's interesting to name it the bio. Oh, I see this new line element. Let's remove it. I don't need this stuff. In the bio, is it here? Yeah. Save. If we go here, after save, we still see this line, a new line symbol, but we hit publish, and yeah, it's here, not here, oh, here. There is no this new line. Let's go to the another record, and also save. That is saved to database, but it's not publicly available. Hit publish, and recheck. Oh, pretty print. Let's do it nice. See, that's the basically was the content manager role. He did some data, your front end fetches data, and it's nice to have it. Let's go back to our Next.js application to our fetch. Where's our fetch? Yeah, here. Just let's recheck what we're getting here. Constant response, await. Which people. So we get a warning that our function should be synchronized. Come on. Come on. Yeah, I know. I just wanted. I just used to wait. Okay, I think. Usually, it just appears, and I click OK. Make after correction. That's a bad habit which Copilot and all these nice IE features give us. We stop coding. By the way, if you plan to go to some web interview developer role, just try to code in a Notepad without any external features, because me personally, I feel that I'm losing this coding skill with appearing Copilot and ChatGPT. Const data await response JSON. Let's just check what data. Did I get the right value for the retriever? Okay, not data, not persons. just to not crash everything. Let's wait. So we get these two nice elements of our array. And let's just replace our person's data with this part. So person map. And here we should replace with document ID. That will be our link. Our link will go here and here. And it should remain only true. Yes, that's already, we get some nice data from Strapi. And let's go to our ID page. If we check our previous request, so we can fetch just by ID our Strapi and get this object, not an array, just a data object. So that means, where do we? So let's go to here, people, and we should add our put that ID to the request. How should I do it? Does it work? Yes. Let's just recheck the const. Will be person and display before. Person if okay, person data null, error, nothing find. What did I skip? Yeah, that's always. Oh, yes, thank you. And data. Oh, okay, that's okay. There is another data. Person. Oh, just 1 second. I believe it should be like that. No, it shouldn't be like that. It should be person dot data view. That is, yeah. Whew. That was challenging part. Even if you like make it like 100 times a day in the office, when you do it publicly anyway, you just it should work, it should work, it should work. Thank you for this slash. I just missed it. So what do we get? We get this nice interaction with the Strapi. We get some data. We can go back to our collection. Add a new entry. Save, publish, delete it, and update it on this site. Of course, that was a very ugly, without any design example. But if you go to some demo projects, they could suggest very nice approach for the whole part of the Next and with all power of Next and Strapi. 1 second, let me start this project. It should be Launchpad. New window. So in this project, if you Google on internet like Strapi Launchpad, you find this repository. Let's see what it suggests and how does it look. So we have Strapi part. Let's start develop. And we have this Next.js. Let's wait when we get started. It takes some time. Come on, this works. Come on. Is it time to start worrying? That's okay. 1 second. Let's go to this mode. Yeah. So that's nice example of Next.js and Strapi based feature. For example, we get this kind of pages with some plans, no matter for. And all this content, it goes from the Strapi. Let's go to Strapi server and check how it's organized on the CMS part. Like before, we talked about content builder, and here you may, for example, set up your SEO titles, description that will be included in your header of every page, categories, articles, put some data there, and in Content Manager you can adjust every page of your project, let users make any additions, add some translation. For example, if you go to the pages, home page, and here it's the hero draft gets started. You get this text, and it's very easy to implement these pages in any other languages. You just go to the settings, go to internalization, add some new locale, and all new pages will be available. Of course, you should put some translation, made new locale, and it will be ready to go. In Strapi part, 1 second. You use the same approach. It's also part. So we have this locale parameter. That means that if we go here, so you may see here this language was selected, English, pricing. We can go to the French. That will be separate URL, French, pricing. And in terms of SEO, you can adjust special text for every page in the header. Let's go here in the header, link, meta name, descriptions, content, very easily to implement all these features via CMS approach. That's pretty much. I can stop here. If you have any questions, I would be happy to answer. You may ask in Russian, and we'll figure out how to handle.
Почему вы выбрали Strapi? У WordPress вроде такие же функции.
So why was I choose Strapi? Because WordPress, it has two features: handling data and displaying data. We don't need displaying data because it was a very customized approach in terms of design, separate footer, separate header, and we needed only data storing and data manipulation. And there is, it's free. Because in WordPress, it's like a solid. You make footer, you put data, and you have like very static footer with some predefined styles. In CMS approach, you get an API for the data and design whatever you want. For mobile, for tablet, it's like independent. It's more narrowed choice.
Если у ребят из онлайн нет вопросов, то, наверное, на этом можно завершать наш воркшоп. Спасибо большое за выступление.
Вам спасибо.
Так, давайте.
Спасибо.
Если что, у нас здесь есть какие-то вопросы, допустим, есть, чтобы обсудить что-то.
Отлично. Спасибо.